off to Neverland.
Yeah. Is that what I just...
That's what I wish was happening.
See. Let's just fly away. Oh, man. Well, welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Polite as Fuck. We are in a new space today. I'm also, like, really tripped out because I'm looking at the camera in a different... I don't know, it feels weird.
Everything's
weird.
Everything
this is a weird
sense.
week. Everything's just crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, so thanks for sticking it through with us. We have our bikes behind us and our surfboards, so it's just we're very
not
active.
set up yet.
We're not set up. Okay? You are here through the process.
Yeah, we're only like 3 days in to moving our stuff in. Mm-hmm. And the movers didn't even put the couch together right, so we like have to move the couch, and our Wi-Fi sucks, and I could go off.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
We'll save it.
We'll save it. But because of our move and it being so fresh, we wanted to start off our 10 and 10 with everything that could go wrong in a move. Do you want to kick it off?
Sure. I'll start with scheduling your move for daylight savings, which maybe could have positive impacts for your move, but it didn't in our case.
No, it did not.
Because the movers arrived an hour earlier than they said they were going to be there, so we weren't really done packing. Like, we still thought we had an hour to, like, finish some things up. Mm-hmm. So we're, like, packing well, and he's like, you need to close those boxes. I'm like, yeah, I know. You got here too quick, buddy. Which then...
Erica was like, we were on our way to go get coffee, and you were like... What did you say? You're like, oh, maybe they didn't know that the time changed. And I was like, with their like little old school pocket watch, they forgot to set the dial back. They don't have a phone to see that it's not 9 o'clock. It's actually 8 o'clock in the morning, and they're ringing the doorbell.
Yeah, I don't know. I was trying to give them the benefit of the doubt.
Oh gosh.
And them also getting earlier sucked because.
Take it away.
Take it away.
Our fucking elevators broke. There was a moment when Erica and I were, I think honestly, everything's a blur, but we're finishing packing, and she turns to me and she goes, and there's this noise that we're hearing, and she looks at me and she goes, wouldn't that be great if the elevator broke before the movers even got here? And I go, don't you dare say that. Well, turns out that's what happened. The movers came up the elevator with their fucking dollies, and the elevator refused to work after that and made this horrible eeing sound for 3.5 hours straight. And it's on the top of my list for things that can go wrong, but I truly, like, all of the honor and all of the dedication goes to Erica, because this happened on a Sunday. No one was answering their phone. Erica goes and, like, has to knock on people's doors just to try to get someone to come out. I mean, what a fucking shit show.
It was an actual nightmare.
At one point, this couch, was stuck in the elevator. Just going up. I actually don't even know what was happening. I mean, the doors were opening and closing, and then this guy, the mechanic, shows up, finally, after 3.5 hours. The movers going up and down the stairs. Spiral staircase.
We live on the third floor.
He shows up and apparently says to Eric, what did he say about, like, oh,
he was like,
being
oh,
sassy.
so have you guys been using this a lot? Or, like, basically being like, you guys are the reason that this broke. And I'm like, no, dude. We haven't even made a single trip down the elevator because it broke the moment we got into it. I tried to call the number in the elevator.
Oh, my God. Well, because the door's, like, staying open. And so Erica's like, I'm like, should we get in and, like, try to press a button? But I am not about to die that way. I know a lot of shit has gone down this week, but I'm like, I am not gonna die in a fucking elevator. And so Erica just, like, walks in the elevator, presses a button, and the doors, like, start to close. And the look on her face was like Jack on Titanic. let me go. Just let me go. I was like, I literally was like so fearful for your life. I was like, Erica, the door. It, like my arm was not doing anything. I was like, get out, get out. And you were like, it's okay. Just let me just call him from inside. I'm like, what the fuck? And I just hear the beep boop beep bop beep from like the inside. Like, you sounded so sad.
I was. And of course, the lady was like, finally, I can talk to someone. And she was like, well, can you get out? And in that moment, the door's open. And I'm like, well, I can't lie. And she's like, I can't help you. Like, the only thing I can do is call, like, the firefighters to, like, come get you. But, like, you would need to talk to your landlord to have him called to, like, whatever. So, that's number three.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Is making enemies with your landlord prior to moving out.
Mm-hmm. 2 weeks before, a week before moving out.
A week before moving out, which I will say was not us making enemies. He just flipped a switch and turned into an evil man.
A dillywag, as one would say.
Money hungry. I don't even know. Going back in his word, changing his mind. Crazy. This is like a whole, like, legal thing that's happening now that I'm just like...
At one point, like, you had turned to me and said, like, he's almost, like, ruining this exciting time for you. And I'm like, this is not okay.
It's so shitty because he was like, oh my gosh, like, that's a huge step. Congrats. We spoke on the phone and he was like, that's a big thing. Like, what are you going to do? Stay in Golden Hill forever? Like, you got to move on, blah, blah, blah. Like, making it seem like he was, like, a proud dad almost. And
you know what this is reminding me of is there's going to be so many tiebacks to our last episode, which is about being fucking petty. Because I'm like, red receipts, dude. Shouldn't have put it in a fucking email. He literally, congratulations, we'll get everything sorted. We'll get you out of here. December 1st, I'll be able to find someone. Motherfucker.
I know. I'm like, I have everything documented, so you just keep trying to get money out of me and I will not be paying you. But yeah, that kind of sucked because then I couldn't just call him and be like, hey, the elevator's broken. I was like having to call the property manager who was closed. So then they had to go to like the emergency line and they weren't communicating. No one communicated. We didn't even know when the guy got there, the elevator. Like, we were just going up and down so much that we, like, saw him get there.
Like a different car that had, like, the only reason why I could tell is because it was, like, how's my driving sticker on the back? And I'm like, I feel like people don't just have those. I feel like you're, like, some sort of service guy.
Yeah.
And then another petty thing that I did is because we're trying to get more money for having to not pay the movers so much. Our elevator service has not been serviced since freaking 2019. And so I went back yesterday and I fucking got into the fucking apartment building and I took a picture of that shit because I'm like, fuck you. And fuck your elevator.
You, Amanda Upchurch.
Literally. I don't know who you are, but you're mean.
You're mean and we don't like
and
you.
And sassy. And your email does not find me well.
No.
My next thing is, so these movers, like, granted, they did not put the couch together. They did do a lot. I felt really bad for them.
Yeah.
And at one point, the guy was like, ma'am, do you have any water? And I was like, oh, yeah. And then Erica was like, from her room, like, we don't have any cups. And I'm like, oh, my God. And then I was joking with Erica later, like, as they're moving back and forth, like, he can just, like, waterfall from my water bottle. But I felt so bad, but I'm also like, dude, you're a mover, bring a water bottle.
Yeah, that was a little crazy, but it was also like he wasn't anticipating going down 3 flights of stairs
for 3 hours.
3 hours.
And they were so nice. He was so kind. He was, excuse me, ma'am, do you have any water? And I'm like, oh God.
Yeah.
So that's having your cups packed.
Cups packed. At one point, he was going down the stairs on the other side of the building. You know how there's the staircase right by us and the stairs over there? And I, like, crossed paths because I saw him coming from that side in the garage. And I was like, there's stairs right here. So he was taking stuff around the third floor. Like, he must have, like, done a lap to, like, try and find the stairs. But I'm also like, dude, ask questions. Like, that was your own dumb move. to just like assume that the
That
only
is
stairs
crazy.
are on the other side of the village.
That is crazy. Also, the other mover kind of reminded me of like a character off Pirates of the Caribbean with his like with his like long hair, but then like ginormous bald patch. I was like, oh, he looked like a merman.
He was very very pirate vibes.
Yeah.
I definitely got that.
So yeah, pour water. No water for those men.
No water for you. I have also make sure that you get sturdy boxes, and I would not recommend the Home Depot because those boxes freaking sucked. The tape wasn't sticking, and I bought those ones were even more expensive because they were like the heavy duty, which I was like, I want the heavy duty ones for like kitchen stuff. books. And of course, they're at the bottom of the stairs, and it just bursts open.
All the kitchen stuff,
all our utensils, all the like random like miscellaneous. Like it was a heavy box, but not so heavy that it should have like ripped the.
I mean,
thing.
it looked crazy. It looked like a paper bag that like just ripped from like the grocery store. It was insane with all, and the guy was like, no, I got it. And it's like falling out on the stairs. I'm like, I'm just going to walk away. I'm just going to walk away and pretend I don't hear the jingling. And then my boxes too, like I use a Home Depot one for most of my books. I did not put all of my books in one thing. I like tried to even them out, and it was like ripping, and the guy had made a joke of like, oh yeah, your 400-pound book box. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. Because he was like, is this one yours, or he's like, is this one yours or Ellie's, like to you? And I was like, oh, let me see. And of course it was like already ripping, so I could tell that there was like my not my duffel bag, my, what do you call that thing that goes under your bed?
Duvet?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
And I was like, oh yeah, this one's mine. So I tried to even it out. Books, duvet, right? That is a balance. It's like, yeah, your 400-pound book box. Sorry, dude. My bad. I just like, I feel so bad. I'm like, of course this is happening. At one point too, the movers at the old place were like, so, does the next place have an elevator? We were like, no. And he was like, yeah, well, what floor are you on? And was like, the second, but it's really, really easy.
I swear. He did say, he was like, this is way easier. And it was less walking. It was a flight of stairs, but it's like, you're not having to round like a corner.
Yeah,
it's just
multiple
direct.
corners, yeah.
And it was nice that our patio, like the couch wouldn't fit through the front door, so they just flipped it onto the patio and brought it in. Yeah, and it worked.
That's crazy. They were so over it.
Are we at the end? I don't even know.
I don't even know either. Let me try it. I have one more, and mine is just not being able to sell the things that you want sold before the move. Like when you have things that you're just like, there is literally no space for you or no place for you to be. Like, you're just going to be standing around. Like, I want to get rid of you. And no one wants it. Like, no. God damn it.
The bar, we have bar stools at our entryway because I'm like, I don't know.
It's like my key hook now.
I saw you do that sooner than I did that. I was like, oh, good idea.
Oh my God.
But yeah, of course, the two things that we sold were the two things that I feel like I could have still used here. Yeah. And then the other stuff, like, we're just like, why?
Like, just here, just random. But it's okay. It's a process. I'm honestly, like, I was going to put this on, like, the worst things, but I don't know if it was the worst thing for me, but because of everything that was happening with our landlord and, like, the elevator's finally working, I was like, I'm just going to go. If I have to move my cough drop, it's cutting me. I'm like, oh, the elevators are working now. I'm just going to go drop stuff off here. I was just, like, so worked up with the day that I was, like, in my car before I realized, like, oh, I just left that apartment for the last time. And I'm a very sentimental person, especially when it comes to moving, that I felt like I was kind of more, like, having my sentimental moment when I got here. Like, when I was finally able to, like, take a shower and be like, okay, like, this is now home. So I was kind of, like, I don't know, everything happens for a reason, and there's a reason why that place needed to be done the way that it was done.
Yeah. It's like, we have so many good memories there, and I loved it. Mm-hmm. I loved our little home there. But I, like, near the end, well, with everything that was going on, I was just like, I cannot wait to get out of here.
Yeah.
Like, the time is done.
Mm-hmm.
We need to be done. And I think also, like, kind of the buildup of, like, we only signed for, like, 3 months because we thought we were going to move, and then we signed for 6.
It's
It was
been right
like,
around the corner for us, so...
Here we are.
Here we are. Oh, my lord. I, like, genuinely do not even know how to start this episode.
I know.
I just, like... I guess a good way to start maybe is, like... If you guys have been listening for a while, you know around this time last year, we did an episode around, like... What was it? 'Tis the sad season or something along those lines, and just about how, like, seasonal depression is, like, so real, and how... Just it's that time of the year where you kind of start to, like, hunker down and take stock of things, and, like, the day is a lot darker and you're feeling all the feelings. And this year has been a lot of changes happening at once during an already stressful time, and then like the way of the world happening out of our like already like very like personal stressful time. So I don't know, I'm feeling sad.
Yeah.
If I could say one thing, it's I'm feeling sad, and yeah, that's where I'm gonna start.
I feel like defeated too, which is like this battle in my mind right now of like, if you're defeated, then you're letting like them, as in like this like actual people, and also this like entity of like other things and elements like win. But I'm also like, I'm so tired.
Yeah.
I'm so tired. And it's so frustrating. And like, yes, the seasonal side of it of like it's dark at 5 and I'm like sad.
Yeah.
But also just like politically, how are we here again? Again. And like worse than before. I don't understand. And it's like, it makes me feel like crazy for thinking that like it was so obvious that the qualified, like, competent candidate would win. And I'm like, am I really that like insane, or like live in a bubble so much that like I really thought that that was just like a given? Like, how do people, I don't even know.
I really don't like talking about things like political, because I don't feel like I'm very well informed, and I don't like I feel like I did that a lot when I was younger. Of just like taking a side just because it was opposite of what my parents thought, or opposite from what like the establishment thought. And I have like learned better, but I just feel like we've gotten to a point where it's like we have this platform that we've built, that it's like our creative side, you know, that we speak on a lot of things like our lifestyle and things that we're going through, and it's like sex and dating and love and life and friendships and all of these things. And it's like a lot of that is like, I don't know, attached to so many things, and it would be such a shame to not use this space to not talk about our feelings of what has been happening this past week, and how that's going to affect the things that we've talked about on the podcast. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to use the word defeated, but it's like, and I don't know. I'm speechless. Like, I'm just so frustrated. I'm so frustrated.
It's so frustrating. And I agree. Like, I am definitely not the like most politically adept.
Yeah.
Is that the right word? Like, I don't read all the things. I'm not in it. It's more of this foundation of like my own morals and just like beliefs as a human being around like what's acceptable and what's not. And like, he's used his platform for hate and for like spreading horrible things and allowing that to be okay, and then allowing other people to think that that's okay. And like, fundamentally, that just is so infuriating to me that like, there's so much shit going on in the world, and we're just like making it 10 times worse by allowing that to be okay, and by like voting someone into office that makes that okay. Like, we already have Putin, we already have Kim Jong-un or whatever his name is, we already have all these horrible like dictators, evil people that I think as like a society we all agree are bad. But now we're just as bad.
It's like such a joke. And I remember traveling like my first time out of the US was during Trump's previous him being in office previously. And I remember just like what other countries, like I traveled to like, I mean, it was Australia and England were like the main ones. And like how like the lens in which they saw not only the American people, but the way that we have built our society and culture was like shocking, but also like, yeah, like shocking to see from other people that they like are kind of like so spot on, and it felt like a generalization, but it really wasn't to its core. And like, yeah, I know I just, like I said, I'm not a very political person, but I'm not fucking blind.
Yeah.
And this is like a space where I speak my truth when it comes to sex, when it comes to dating, when it comes to friendships, when it comes to being a woman. And like this is now seeped into my life. It always has, but now it's at a point where it's like so shaky because you don't know what's gonna happen. And like I've never been so thankful to live in a state before. I've moved around my entire life. Home to me is the space in which I create it, my own body, my safe haven. And now that's at stake. Not only that, but now I have to look into like, okay, well, what state is the best, like, and safest for me to live in?
Yeah.
Like now I feel like we were like, oh, last year, let's move to Florida. Yeah, fuck that. I'm not fucking moving to Florida.
No.
I'm not moving to Texas because it's cheaper. Like those are things that were you know what I mean? And it's like, it's never been more real and more in my face. And I don't know. Like there's just so many things I can say and so many feelings. It's just like on top of all of this happening, and this has been happening. It's not like election day came and it's like, oh my God, surprise. Like I realized that, like on top of all of the changes, like in my life, I'm not feeling good right now. It's like all I feel like doing is crying, and like I hate that feeling.
Yeah. It's because it's like you feel helpless. Like it feels like, okay, I'm crying, but there's like no way to solve this for like within my power. And it's like, yeah, you can cultivate your space and support people and still be kind and do all these things. And like, that's what I'm planning to continue to do. But at the same time, it's like, I don't have the power that the government has to control a woman's body, which is like so fucked that that's a thing that they can do. But that's a conversation. Like, I don't have that power. And I'm thankful that I live in California and have the ability for that, like, at least right now, not to be necessarily a thought in my mind. It's like, if I want to do something, I can go and do that.
Yeah.
I'm not having to be like, let me cross into another
Borders
state or like go to this hack job thing to like have a procedure done because it's not allowed because I'm a woman.
I'm just trying to be like as like vulnerable and real as possible, and like I know that there are people out there that are doing, like, in my opinion, like in my belief, God's work, right? Where they're like really, they're activists, they're promoting, they're always fighting, and this decision and this time of year isn't gonna stop them from fighting. And I'm like, thank God that there are like that. And like I know that there are things, and I'm trying everything that I can do within my power, and I'm trying not to be defeated. But in like my lifestyle and who I am, like in my time, there is only so much that I can do. And there is only so much that you can do and people can do. Like it's us as a collective that have to put in the work and still maintain like boundaries. For me, like I know, like for me, when it comes to like doing social work, like there's only so much I can do in order to make sure that I'm like mentally stable. And so when I think about this, like I just think like how many people are in a position that I'm in where it's like I want to do more, but I'm like I don't want to feel defeated because I want to do everything that I can, but I also feel like I'm already doing everything that I can, and I still feel this way. I don't know. It's
like, how do you stay motivated to stay involved and to like
essentially fight?
And it's like, I think what's hard about it is it feels like, why is this even a fight to be had? Like, it seems like there are way bigger issues, way, like, deeper conversations to be having, and instead we're going back to, like, fundamental human rights.
Mm-hmm. Like the line drawn in the sand feels like it's just been like, it's like a canyon now. Mm-hmm. And it's like, so our country is so divided to a point where it's like, I don't know, I'm like, how are we back here again? Like, I remember having this conversation last time of like,
yeah,
what was it, 2016, being like, oh, I need to go through and see like all of the, I can't even go on social media without feeling like extremely uncomfortable with like who I am following and what I'm seeing on there, or like having to like really reevaluate a lot of like connections with people based on like, oh wow, like I did not realize like you viewed things that way, and like that's how you saw women or people of color or trans people. I did not see that, and now it's like, I keep saying the same thing, and I know I'm just
no,
so
I don't think you're
lost.
saying the same thing. It is confusing. You made me think. Oh, do you know why the Amish backed him? What? Like, I didn't even think that they voted.
Honestly,
like they just like kind of came out of the woodworks, and I was like, what's happening?
honestly, like I don't know really anything about what goes on. Like, you never know. I don't know, did he like promise them some shit? What do they want?
Yeah.
More fucking butter to churn? Like, yeah. What do you want that we can't, that Kamala couldn't provide? You don't use guns. Don't you have like a musket? Like, I mean, like, you're supporting, it's so baffling to me. It really is. And like, I don't understand how it's getting to the point where like I can't even see his face. I can't even see it. It makes me sick.
Mm-hmm. And not that I'm like trying to understand where his supporters are coming from, because I just can't. But I get that our current president is kind of just a dud. Okay?
100%. Yes.
Like, I get it. I wasn't stoked on him to begin with. But I'm also like, the lesser of two evils? I don't know. Like, literally.
I think our country, like I said, is so racist and so sexist and misogynistic that that it just could not even cross people's mind. And I just like,
it makes me also like, there's so many reasons, I think, aside from just like this hate that stems from ignorance, is like, what is it, like more than half of the people that live in the US, like adults, have a reading level of like a 5th grader. And like, when you're taught things from like a religious lens, coming from a religious background where your mind is so just like warped if you don't have critical thinking skills, and like,
and how easily we can be molded into believing things.
How you can think that something that's satirical is real.
Yep.
And with like the internet, it's like, no, dude, that's not. Mm-hmm. Getting on Facebook is crazy, because I look at things and I'm like, that's clearly like AI. And then I click in the comments and people are like, oh my gosh, and I'm like, this is not real. This is not real. And this is just like basic, like, this is clearly not a real photo, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, like tier, like it goes deeper than that.
Yeah.
I know. This episode is a little dated, and I'm only saying that because I'm sure more like information and maybe more like processing and a little bit more like this is like right after the fact, so we are feeling very like heavy and lots of feelings, and there is a part of me that's like sad and also feeling very defeated, but also knowing that like this is not the time to give up, so I'm trying to remember that. And also Harris has not come out with her speech yet, so like we haven't heard like her wise words, and I'm sure that she's going to be able to provide us. But I have just like saved just a few things that have like really resonated with me during this time, especially just feeling so like low in a lot of different areas in life. So I was like, oh, you know what, let me just talk about it. It's just as like funny shit. This picture that Erica sent me on Instagram is so fucking hilarious, and like I just like I can't like this is when I was like, what should we talk about this episode? This is the feeling that came up. It is, if you guys are familiar with The Office, it's when Mindy's character, Kelly, was taking like the diet like juices or whatever to try to lose weight, and she's like sweating and she's like, everything's fine, I'm like a size 2 or whatever, and it's like with an I voted sticker on it, and it's like so true and so funny. And I know that this isn't like hilarious time, but I just think that you have to have some humor. You have to get through. So that was like one thing that I wanted to share that was funny. But on like a little bit more of a serious note, I can never figure out how to work fucking Instagram. I'm honestly an idiot. NPR posted this, just a few dates to keep in mind. So it said the presidential calendar doesn't end on election day. Keep these key dates in mind. December 11th, the appointing of the electors. December 17th, the meeting of the electors. December 25th, the arrival of the electoral votes. January 3rd, the swearing in of Congress. January 6th, the counting of electoral votes in Congress. And then January 20th, which is Inauguration Day. So, I mean, it just is like, it's ongoing. I don't think that this is like, I don't think anything's going to change, but I just think it's important to remember that democracy isn't just 4th of July and Election Day. There are a lot of dates that happen and there's a process, and that we should continue to stay informed no matter who our president is. Mm-hmm. This is like super, super, super cheesy, but, and I'm going to botch it, but a while ago, probably last time, 2016, I was like really trying to get into like American, you know what? That's not important. I'm not even gonna try to like dive down into that.
I really want to know.
No, I was just
get into American.
No, history is what I was gonna say. Oh, okay. Just like talking about. I was reading this thing somewhere. I can't remember what it was, but the premise of what they were saying was like America will basically get what it deserves. Like it will never be able to succeed or grow in a healthy way based on the way that the country was built. And so of course last night doom scrolling, I saw something on HuffPost that I wanted to share by Taryn Finley. I have no idea who it is, but the like first picture is of Trump, and it says Donald Trump is exactly what America deserves, and so that already like sparked me to like swipe. And the quote is, "This is a reminder to all of us who are concerned about the next 4 years and the future of this country to focus on our survival. Fight for our survival. Never compromise on our survival." Wow, I'm like reading this so weirdly. Am I not? That was weird.
What?
Okay, fight for our survival and never compromise on our survival. That's how our ancestors made alchemy out of the most fucked up situations. This isn't an awakening, but a reminder for us to never forget that the blood this country was built on will continue to spill until it truly reckons with itself, until we reckon with how it all still affects us. And like,
wow.
It just really hit me because I'm like, chills. It's just so true. I mean, like, but also I'm reading that and it's like, how is it that we are still allowing the most people in need of help to continue to be oppressed, and the majority are like the same people always end up on top. Mm-hmm. And so it's like, I understand America is getting what it deserves, but it's like, why are women and people of color and queer people the one that are paying for that still? Mm-hmm. And it's like so frustrating. Mm-hmm. So yeah, those were just a few things that I saw that I wanted to share.
That quote is really good. You saying that, well, okay, so we got a little into like conspiracy theories, and you saying that made me think a little, like maybe connect dots or maybe just like make something up in my mind of like, why suddenly is Elon Musk full speed ahead on the Trump train?
The picture of him jumping on stage,
his little tummy, and like
with like a fucking 2-year-old toddler boy that just got a little pickup truck. Disgusting.
So I was like, you were reading that, and I'm like, why are all these like it wasn't all just straight white men that voted for Trump.
Mm-hmm.
It is a lot of, like, actually I saw something, I don't remember who it was by, but a lot of, like, Latinos, a lot of, like,
a lot of Cubans.
Yeah, and I'm like, is it, and this is getting into muddy waters, because I'm like, is it this abuse of power and this, like, playing on their lack of, like, knowledge or understanding for how things will impact them? Because it is the same people ending up on top of, like, these are very powerful people who manipulate and work the system and, like, do things to constantly grow themselves, and they don't care about other people. So why is it that all these people think that they care about them? Like, this isn't really a conspiracy theory, and I know I'm, like, spiraling, but I'm like, how are they, like, controlling the masses in this way? And is it coming from a lack of education? Is it coming from, like, where is it coming from? Because I do know a lot of it is hate, but it can't all be. It can't all be.
I think, yeah, some of it is hate. I think some of it is also ignorance. I think it's also exactly what you touched on at the very beginning of this episode, or just a few minutes ago, of, like, when you grow up and, like, your belief system and the way that you breathe and drink water and everything is done in a certain way and told to you that you have to do this because God wants it this way, and right and wrong, and the use of fear in this country, the fear of being different, the fear of not being in a box, the fear of color, the fear of change has scared so many people like nobody's business, that it is, like, instilled in them and, like, has been placed and pushed down in them and now pushed down into their children, and it's, like, a horrible cycle. And I think, I mean, we see it firsthand all the fucking time. Like, you specifically, I mean, I only spent a freaking fraction of my childhood in Nevada, which is a very country, down-to-earth, American place, so you can see how people get very passionate about their country and their leadership and their land and America, and, like, that's great. And I see some of the things that I said when I was a kid living there, because I was like, it's just around you that you feel very, like, passionate. And you can see how passion for country and fascism are, like, really neck and neck there. And it honestly, until you leave that area, do you see what the real world is and how other people and how, like, these things can take effect. And so you can see how, like, if you never leave and this is the only way that you see your life, okay, right in the middle of the camera as I'm giving this declaration of how, you know what,
keep going. No,
I've lost my train of thought. But I'm like, you like, of course, but, like, how do you? It makes me even feel. It makes me feel even less or even more lost when I am so aware of it, though, because I'm like, I'm aware, and that there are billions of people that, like, I just am like, I don't know. Yeah, thank you. Bye. Yeah.
I do, like, yeah, getting on social media, I just got on for a brief moment today, and I was like, no, we're not doing this. And the people that I know, well, at least I think I know, like, have never really left our hometown, have not traveled outside the country. I mean, if they have, they've, like, never posted about it, which, like, is very possible. But I'm like, this is because this is the only world that you know. And it's so true of, like, some of my old Facebook posts, I'm like, I can never run for political office because I've said literally craziest things, like, that are, like, crazy to me now, but, like, obviously there are way worse things. Anyway, it's just, like, you have no cultural perspective, you have no idea of, like, life outside of the life that you know, because that's all you know.
Yeah, and how easily manipulated. Yeah. I mean, you turn on local news, and you know how many times, like, I just see, like, all of the, like, criminals that they're trying to find are, like, Latin looking men or people of, and I'm like, if this is the only thing that you see of, like, oh, a Mexican, and I'm like, this is, like, I can't, like, you're being brainwashed. I'm not saying those things are true, but, like, it's the media, the way that it's, like, filtered. I just, and you can't, I don't know. I'm like, I'm so, like, I'm sick of making excuses for people.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sick of it.
I know. It's, we were talking about that last night, too, of, like...
And I don't want to be dramatic, but I also feel like I'm not being dramatic. Like, I'm not. This isn't John McCain versus... This isn't John McCain. I'm not talking about him. I'm not talking about Bush, which is a whole other conversation. Like, this is a whole other entity. This is a whole other beast.
Yeah. It's a different
Both
level.
of them fucking wackadoodles. Like, I just can't.
So we're gonna... This was our Ven sesh, our bitch sesh. Bitch sesh.
Bitch sesh. Wow. I guess that is really hard to say. A bitch sesh.
A bitch sesh. Our cry sesh. We're just feeling funky. And I know it's the season of thanks, but I'm feeling not very thankful right now. I guess I am thankful to be in this space with you.
Yes.
And to live in California and to have this life that I have right now, I guess.
Yeah. I am, just because, like, you're gonna be so annoyed with me saying this, but I just have to bring it up. I love the song Wednesday Morning by Macklemore.
Yeah.
This song came out when Trump first became president the first fucking time. We can't learn our lesson. Back when, like, Macklemore was, like, hot shit, and I, like, really loved everything that he came out with. I remember, like, just being so obsessed with that one album with him and Kesha. Do you remember that time?
No.
Oh my god. Well, I loved the both of them. Anyway, there is a quote from this song. It's called Wednesday Morning. Basically, Wednesday morning, waking up, finding out Trump is president, and I feel very much similar. And I'm trying to find it. The very end of the song, he goes, "And we fight for the people that haven't had a voice, fight for the First Amendment, fight for freedom and choice, fight for women's rights, if she does or doesn't care, and we ride for all the queer folk and fight for all the gay married. I'm not moving to Canada, I'm not fleeing the nation, no time for apathy, no more tears, and no complaining. Gotta fight harder." Wow.
Fight harder.
Gotta fight harder for the next 4 and what we're faced with. Got my daughter in my arms, and he is not gonna raise her. So, this is not a time to back down. It's time to fight. And we got it. It's very sad, but
You got it. That was good. That's a good ending.
I know. I like it. Good song. Super cheesy.
No, it's good. I listened to it this morning and cried.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thanks for coming along this journey with us. If you're feeling some type of way, feel free to reach out. We love you, and we will see you next week.
See you next week.